Look at what they can't stop replaying. Yeah. That moment. The one they thought would pass quietly. The one they assumed would dissolve into nothing like all the other times you were expected to stay in your place. The one where the room was supposed to move on without resistance, without interruption. Your ceiling, your relevance. They knew where you belonged in the room, which was nowhere that mattered. They thought your silence meant acceptance. They thought your restraint meant weakness. They thought your distance meant disengagement. They thought they understood the limits of how much weight your name could carry when spoken aloud. And for a long time, maybe you let them think that. Maybe you stayed quiet. Maybe you didn't correct the narrative. Maybe you allowed them to believe you were alone, unsupported, unprotected, that you didn't have anyone willing to step into the fire on your behalf. And then it happened. That one moment, that interruption they didn't plan for, that defense they didn't see coming because they were too busy watching the version of you they thought they had. Not because you spoke, but because someone else decided you were worth interrupting the script for. They thought your story was already written, that your chapter had ended somewhere earlier, quietly, without ceremony. They convinced themselves your absence from the conversation meant irrelevance. They told themselves that if you mattered, someone would have said something sooner. They used that silence to justify everything that followed. And then in one precise moment, that justification collapsed. Because silence wasn't the truth. It was just unchallenged until it wasn't. Now here we underestimated. What other assumptions are we operating on that might collapse the same way? Because power doesn't fear opposition as much as it fears blind spots. And you just exposed one. What makes this even more unsettling is that you're not capitalizing on the moment publicly. You're not posturing. You're not changing your behavior to signal victory. You're not reminding anyone what happened. You're moving exactly the same way you were before, calm, unbothered, focused. And that consistency tells them something they don't want to admit. This wasn't a fluke. This wasn't luck. This wasn't a one-off. This was alignment finally becoming visible. They're realizing now that you're restrained, and you're not reacting at all. That's the part that's driving them insane. You're not basking. You're not leveraging the moment socially. You're not changing how you show up to signal victory. You're not reminding anyone what happened. You're letting the silence do the work again. But this time, it's a different kind of silence. This one is heavy, charged, full of implications. It's the silence of someone who doesn't need to prove they're protected because the protection already revealed itself. They're starting to understand something they really don't like. That the defense didn't come from guessed. Conversations are being revisited. People are wondering who's watching them the way that person watched you. Because if you slipped past their radar, who else might be doing the same? The room has lost its sense of omniscience, and that loss creates paranoia, disguised as professionalism. There's also something else happening beneath the surface, something even more destabilizing. The defense wasn't emotional, it wasn't dramatic, it was clean, almost boring. And boring disruptions are the worst kind. They don't give you something obvious to fight. You can't accuse it of bias or overreaction. Victories better than they do. Someone who can read future consequences, while others are still clinging to past arrangements. And that realization is quietly devastating. Because now the question isn't just, why did they defend you? It's what do they see coming that we don't? And once that question exists, trust in leadership fractures. Not publicly, Internally, in the places that matter, people start hedging, preparing contingencies, keeping options open. The room becomes a collection of individuals protecting themselves instead of a unified structure enforcing order. That's when things really start. That moment was a one-time anomaly or the start of a pattern. Because if it's a pattern, then the power map needs to be redrawn. And redrawing maps means admitting the old ones were wrong. People built careers on those maps, egos, identities, entire self-concepts. That's not something they're eager to confront. So instead they stall, they observe, they delay decisions. They hope momentum will return on its own. But momentum doesn't return after a moment like that. It either transforms or it collapses. There's no rewind, no going back to a version of the room where silence was guaranteed. Everyone knows too much now. And knowledge changes behavior whether people want it to or not. Here's what's really happened, and every extra step is a tax on dominance. They're paying that tax now without fully understanding why. They just know things don't move the way they used to. Doors don't open as easily. Momentum stalls at odd moments. And somewhere in the back of their minds, they know exactly when it started. The truly destabilizing part is that they can't isolate the problem. It's not you. It's not the person who spoke up. It's the precedent, the memory, the proof that intervention is possible, that silence isn't guaranteed, that protection can emerge without warning. Once that proof exists, people start testing it unconsciously. They push back a little more. They hesitate a little longer. They speak a little more plainly. Felt it. Everyone remembers where they were sitting. Everyone remembers who spoke. Everyone remembers the pause that followed. And memory like that doesn't fade. It shapes decisions long after the words are gone. So no, this isn't heading toward confrontation. It's heading toward irrelevance for the methods they relied on. It's heading toward a future where authority has to perform competence instead of entitlement, where silence is no longer free, where protection appears unpredictably, where power dynamics glitch not because someone is loud, but because someone is aligned. They asked themselves the wrong question after that moment. They asked why someone defended you. The real question they should have asked is, what kind of system allows that defense to be so destabilizing?